that's the way she's impacted me the most, is in my personal life. I feel like I've grown so much because of her story. We're such a society that's sort of egocentric and focused on our own needs, and I think we rarely take a moment to look up and look around and see who needs help, extend a hand to someone. And I think that she's proof that a little goes a long way.
Sophie, kind of when you're presented this, what did what were your reactions to the script and the story?
I think my initial reactions were that it was the story almost seemed fake, like the way that she managed to hide them. I was like, there's no way all of this happened, but it really did. And afterwards, I obviously felt the need to do even more research, and I read her life story, and I found some archives of interviews of her in her 60s, and found photos of her in her 20s, and um, I think I just fell in love with how inspiring her story was and how relevant it still is to this day.
Hmm.
And Jeannie, I mean, this is a pretty big deal because it was your mother. And so I'm really interested in the fact that at the end of the movie, it says that she didn't really talk about this until years later, I think 1985 or something, right? Or you can kind of correct me on that. But
Yeah, like 1981. It was a little bit earlier than that. Yeah.
so what was she internalizing everything she went through, or what was kind of the purpose of keeping it to herself, the story?
As I've been traveling, I speak to a lot of Jewish groups, but other people too that have experienced trauma, and especially the Holocaust kind of trauma. And what I found is that the people who survived have guilt that they survived and their family members didn't, or they had guilt that they had to do things they would have never in their ordinary lives had to do, which was true in my mom's case, and that just kind of keeps you quiet. When she came to this country, she had lost her family, lost her whole background. And so she really put a do not disturb sign on and started over. And that was not something that she was going to talk about until she was faced with a Holocaust denier and realized that if people didn't start sharing, history would repeat itself.
How would you think she would feel about knowing that the movie was out now?
I'm sure that would just be beyond what she could ever imagine, because she knew Dan Gordon, the playwright and the movie right. She knew he was making a play about her story. They shared the same birthday, and he called her on May 5th, 2003, to let her hear the applause of the first reading that was done with his play. And then she passed away 15 days later, basically. So she kind of knew something was happening, but she would have had no idea it would have come to this.
Sophie, there were some incredible moments that you had in the movie, but it was all hard. It was probably very intense to get into because these stories were, it showed it in such a personal way. Could you talk about, kind of getting into that role and the kind of things that, you were affected by doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely overwhelming because she's led such a heroic and extraordinary life, and I felt like I had really big shoes to fill. Um, but I think it what really helped was that we shot in Poland, and we were shooting right on the border of Ukraine while war was going on there, and so we really felt the ramifications of the war in Lublin, which was the city, because there was soldiers at our hotel and refugees, and um, it just made us want to do and then tell the story even more. And I think just going on set every day and seeing the swastikas that were up and the machinery and the rifles, and the emotion wasn't very far away. So it was very heavy material to deal with every day, but it wasn't hard to access because it just every day felt so real and close to me.
Sophie, in your words, and both of you, how would you say her faith kind of helped dictate what she was doing?
I think it was she, because of her faith has just this trust in life. And I think it really helps her see the best in people and the best in life, and gives her hope. I think clinging on to that really just gives her hope. And in the darkest moments, she finds something to latch onto to keep her going. And also eventually, like without revealing spoilers, lead her to take on some decisions that will save people.
What about for you, Jeannie? Knowing her and knowing the story, how would you say her faith, dictated what
it was her engine. It was her motivation. She grew up with a faith-based household and a very strong personal faith in God himself, and honestly believed that if he opened a door for her, he would see it through. So she literally placed her life, herself, her actions in God's hands and trusted him for the outcome.
Sophie, you've done a lot of roles. This role, I'm sure, has been very impactful. What would you say kind of you're going to take from, playing her in your personal life?
Definitely, I think that's the way she's impacted me the most, is in my personal life. I feel like I've grown so much because of her story, and I think it's really taught me that. I mean, I already knew this, but we're such a society that's sort of egocentric and focused on our own needs, and I think we rarely take a moment to look up and look around and see who needs help, or just to extend a hand to someone. And I think that she's proof that a little goes a long way, and that it doesn't matter if it's as small as smiling to someone or complimenting someone. It has a ripple effect, and it can change someone's life down the way and down the road. And I think also just to be more open to other people's differences. I think that's truly what makes us beautiful as a society. And instead of being so quick to judge other people for their beliefs and their religions and their values, I think we should at least be open to a discussion and trying to see what we can take away from other people's differences and grow from them instead of creating conflict.
And I guess, Jeannie, maybe talk about, kind of your hope for the movie. Is it also, I'm curious, is it hard to kind of talk about your mom in this way, in terms of, you were so close with her probably, and now that she's passed, is it hard to kind of remember this kind of things, or what would you say to that?
No, it's not hard. Since she's passed away, I talk about her all the time. It's my full-time job to go around and talk about her. And I've really picked up the mantle that she carried, which is to continue to spread the message that one person can make a difference. And I admire her 1,000 times more. Now that she's passed, I wish she could know how much. Because of the fact that, she really had no tools. She didn't have a home, parents backing her up, anything. She was literally on her own as a very young person. And she just took the little bit that she had and gave it, and, used the conviction that she had that life was important, and that she would do everything she could to try and sustain that for herself and for, the people that she helped. And so it's a message that we too today can, in lots of ways, like Sophie said, add to the quality of someone's life, and maybe, who knows, save a life sometime by an action. But we all have that possibility to make a difference with someone else. My mom's passion would be for as many younger people to be able to see that and maybe change their mindset, their eyes, what they see, because, like Sophie alluded to, our culture is very me-oriented, very self-oriented. And we lose so much of our humanity when our eyes are inward. And so, I hope that people not just see a movie about an incredible young woman, but maybe get challenged that it's possible to be able to do some amazing things as well. and to look outward, to see people, to notice them.
If you enjoy videos that follow your values like ours and you want to help us continue, go to movieguide.org/donate, because we're actually a nonprofit. You may not know that, but we're working in Hollywood every day to help families have more choices that follows their values. And also subscribe right now.